and welcome back to the movie breakdown. I'm your host Paul, along with my co-host Yvonne Carlos.
What's going on, everyone?
Hey guys, we're going to review Bad Boys for Life, aka Bad Boys 3, aka Old Men with Fancy Cars in Miami, aka Will Smith and Will,
Give me one more AKA.
aka. So, it to me, being a 37-year-old, I have very fond memories of the original two movies. But
Yeah,
in
that's
all,
interesting because I am not super attached to the Bad Boys franchise myself, so it's cool that we have that difference between us
yeah. So
to talk about.
to me, I remember the original two movies when I was a very young child, um, and now for them to come back, I guess the comparison that I've read and really have seen is that basically the original two movies are about two young people really struggling in life and trying to fight crime and do the right thing and be really hip and cool. And the third one is about two old guys that can't get out of their 20s and are still acting like a bunch of kids. So it's not a bad thing or a good thing, but it's very interesting.
Take this movie seriously. Um, I mean, I didn't, but I don't know if that was intentional or not. Like, I don't know how intentional the campiness of the movie was. You know what I mean? Like, and I only say that because Will Smith is a very versatile, performer. Like his resume is intense. He's played some really dark, like interesting characters. So he's not one to shy away from like a cinematic challenge. So and obviously Bad Boys is known for being funny, and I'm not ignoring that. But I just there was this overly campy, filtered kind of like not real picturesque like vibe to the whole movie that honestly kind of reminded me of like a telenovela, especially when I need to remember her name because she's phenomenal. The woman who played I think her name was Bruja. I'm on IMDb right now. Kate Del Castillo.
Oh,
I love Kate Del Castillo. She's a telenovela star. She's done a bunch of stuff. It's on E10. It's on Netflix. She's amazing. I'm a huge fan of hers, and she usually plays characters that are really like kind of like mafiosos. They're like in the mafia. They're like super badass, like overcoming, like very strong Latin woman presence vibe.
the
So very
mother.
similar to what she was casting in this movie. Very similar, like criminal mastermind ish. But I didn't like how they made her so like crazy.
Well, I think it's that age thing that they're trying to push you know, she's that scorned woman and she's trying to be out for rage. I mean, that's why she raised a son to be so wickedly evil. So all right, so before we get way too into it, if you haven't listened to our show before, what we do is we do a little recap at the beginning. We do our review at the beginning, and then we go into a deep dive because we believe in you guys actually watching the movie and then listening to our deep dive. So,
Yeah,
Yvonne
oops, guys,
Carlos,
my bad. I went a little deep on that one.
that's okay. Let's Yvonne, let's go with your rating.
Well, can you remind our listeners what our rating system is first?
Absolutely. So,
The photographer.
of course we have a 5 scale, but believe it or not, our 1 is not our worst movie. Our 0, our 1 is our. I'm sorry, I always get this backwards. I'm so sorry. Our 1 is our worst movie, but we actually have a 0. Our 0 is actually our hilariosity. So we actually have a six. We have a 6 scale. Apologize for saying it this way. We have a 6 scale rating, and we actually have a 0. And 0 is not our lowest rating. It's hilariosity, meaning the movie is so bad that you have to see it. So based on those
It's so bad
scores,
it's hilarious. You just have to watch it.
yes, exactly. So based on that, where would you put this on your rating system?
I'm gonna give it a solid 2.
Whoa, 2? Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay. Okay.
I didn't like this movie. Like I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't think it was really that funny. I think that they really rushed this father-son dynamic thing into one movie. I feel like that's a really interesting choice to play with, but it needs time to develop if you want people to really care about the characters and what happens to them. Like the fact that this super important woman in Will Smith's character's life is only in a single movie, like not even the entire movie. I just didn't really care about what was happening, and I didn't think that the jokes were funny. And I'm a huge Will Smith fan, and I do love Martin Lawrence. I just wasn't really impressed.
And this is coming from an angle that you haven't
I
seen.
shouldn't say impressed. I wasn't going to say it wasn't my favorite movie. Obviously, it was not a terrible movie.
But you haven't seen the original 2, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember being a kid watching the scene where Martin Lawrence gets shot in the ass. That's the second one, right?
Yes.
That was like the funniest shit I think I've ever seen. Excuse my language, I'm so sorry.
No.
That was so funny to me. It's like I have like these really intense visceral memories of Bad Boys and it being super funny and engaging, and it was something that like I was able to watch with my parents. So I don't know, it was just like we were all enjoying it, we were all laughing. Then watching this, I just kind of felt like it was dumb and unnecessary, but ultimately cool for them because like they're at a point as actors where they can do this, and it isn't the most amazing movie ever, but like people are huge fans of Will Smith and Martin Lawrence and Bad Boys to the point where they just want to see them return, and that is beautiful. That is amazing. That fan base is wild. I just wasn't entertained.
Well, my first impression.
What's your rating?
My first impression is based on what I actually witnessed in the theater. First of all, it came out in February of this year of 2020, and the response that I saw was just absolutely blow my mind out. Like it was just absolutely incredible. I usually go on Thursday nights, and the entire theater was filled with the black community and was sold out. So
Yeah, the fan base.
Huh?
The fan base, the Bad Boys fan base.
Yeah,
They knew that they would come to see this movie, and they knew that people would enjoy seeing these characters return. I think that because I'm removed from that fan base, and I saw it obviously as the third movie in the series, the bow at the end of it. But
well, you're not going to be happy with this.
I didn't have this like super intense love for the characters. I thought it was a really funny movie. So then I'm watching Bad Boys for Life, and I just wasn't laughing.
Well, you're not going. You're not going to be happy with this. They've already announced that there's a fourth movie.
Oh, what?
Yes. That's why.
Good for them. Good for them. I'm not trying to, crap on actors getting work and doing awesome projects because that's cool. I wouldn't film a movie that big. You know what I mean? Like, I just am curious as to why. But I think it's because the money's there. People want to see these movies. Getting money.
Well, you have IDMB up, so you can look up how much it's made in theaters, which is not its full inspection because it didn't get a full theater run because most things get at least
because of COVID.
Yeah, but it was trending towards making a profit, and if you were paying attention to the ending, they let it very easily that everything was happy. The family was together. No one in the inner family died except for the sergeant. you know. So
Yeah.
um, and the one thing that still is struggling with Will Smith's character is that he's still not a family man. So I think that's an aspect that we would, but if he becomes a family man, that maybe that changes the dynamic of that group because uh, his partner is always supposed to be the more respected
Yeah, but I mean, the
doing.
thing is that with like stories this long, like they have a world now. They have a very fleshed out, you know, character arc, which is I think it's interesting. But like they could really like nail an ending. The bat like it's like I'm thinking like if they were to kill off both Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, and that's how the movie ends, they die. Like that'd be insane. Like a crazy, riveting, like whoa, what the heck? Especially because they're both stars. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying that's how I think it's gonna end.
Well, I mean, to me, I think it only
But I
makes
just didn't.
to me it only makes
Sorry.
sense that Will dies in the fourth movie.
Yeah, I totally see that, and that would be cool. Again, and I guess that's just kind of how it's working. Like they want to make movies to make more movies, maybe.
No. I think what the idea was that Will knew that there was such a big audience, and this was the first movie that Lawrence has made since his retirement. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but Lawrence actually really has taken a huge step back, and Lawrence has just recently came out of retirement just for this movie. So, which is surprising because you wouldn't think they're that old, but Lawrence is in, I believe, his late 50s, and so is Will's heading towards his late 50s too. So,
Yeah, and it is really cool. Like, and maybe this was always part of the plan. Maybe they knew that Bad Boys was always going to be a big hit. And they said, yeah, like right now you guys are too young to keep making more, but we're gonna make some more in a couple of years when you're older, and we're gonna make a thing of it. And like, it's like one of those like long haul projects, and it's beautiful. I'm not trying to speak negatively on the franchise. I think it's a great thing, and they're working actors.
no.
So I just wasn't entertained.
No, I understand. So, going back to what I was saying. So, I mean, I think I'm going to give it at least one half of a point just for the audience showing up because I've never seen that at a Thursday night premiere where like unless it was like Endgame and like everyone was buying a ticket or Star Wars. Okay,
But
this is a random,
kind of like Endgame.
huh?
This movie is kind of like Endgame.
I mean,
People, you know what I mean? Like,
it was on.
actually, like,
But there was a 20-year gap, dude. I mean, and it wasn't no disrespect. It didn't have the movie. It didn't have the movie budget behind it that Star Wars did or Marvel. I mean, yes. I mean, like I'm aware of this, but I mean, it's not like they released a special edition of the 2-pack of the movie and like they were. I mean, it's Bad Boys. I mean, yeah, it's a good movie, but like the only reason why I knew about it is there was a podcaster that kept on talking about it for like 5 months. Other than that, I've been like, oh yeah, they made a new movie.
I don't know. I feel like Bad Boys is kind of like a cult classic, and like it's kind of marketable in that way. Where like, oh, whoa, they made another one. We have to go see it, and we'll go see it in theaters. We'll make a thing of it because people don't really. Well, I shouldn't say people don't go to the theater anymore because a lot of people do. But like, let's go see Bad Boys. Like, of course, when you go to the movie theater, you see Bad Boys. That's just like a fun night.
Yeah, of course.
Supposedly.
So here are some of my pros because I actually like the movie. I think it's not a classic in any way. So what I was trying to say is I'm gonna give it a half a point. I'm gonna give it half of a point for the just the community showing up because I didn't think it was there, and then I'm gonna give it a strong 3. So I'm gonna give it a 3.5 stars.
You're giving it a 3.5?
Yes. And
okay.
and to be honest, it's really just a 3, but the audience really showed up. So I mean, who am I to say that it's a horrible movie? But it's really
it's just your opinion.
right. So here are the things that I like. One, I like that they introduce a new bad guy that is basically legitimate. Like it's not. It chronologically it makes sense. he's the right age. He's in his mid-20s. Like Will is super old. Like I love the dynamic of that. I love that he has this romantic person with a bad guy. I love that. It's very believable because Will in the first two movies is known to be like this hustler that would like literally fuck anything, including a chicken. Like he has his attitude. I like that they build this backstory of how he becomes this like player kid Kai. So like really explains his character. I love that they finally killed someone. These movies are known that like no one dies in the movie, so I love that the sergeant died. Um, it was kind of like all these movies. It's coming from left field. Someone has to die. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just like a movie trope that someone has to die, but someone has to die. I love that it was the sergeant. He wasn't his typical self. I don't know if that's more that like society is that we don't deal with on screen or in person people screaming, but his dynamic of a sergeant was always really screaming. He seemed to be more loving and caring, and it wasn't the sergeant that I remember when I was a child. And the last thing that they did to me, I thought was really good, is that Will's character is always portrayed in this particular franchise as untouchable. And they even said in the movie that he's bulletproof. He never gets shot. He never gets hurt. And the little shit finally got shot. And I thought to me that it wouldn't have made sense that his co-host got shot because he's the one always falling. His wife's crapping on him. He gets all this shit, but Will got shot, and I thought it was so fitting. So, do I think that the storyline could have been tied up much more? Yeah. I think that there was too much tropes on Lawrence being this old person. I mean, just because you're in your 50s doesn't mean that like all you do is you go sit on your couch. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't plan on be sitting on my couch forever when I'm 50. Um and I, I I love
I respect your rating. I
yeah, yeah.
respect your rating. 3 to 3.5. I can respect it.
Well, what do you think of those
Yeah.
comments? What do you think about Will being shot, the captain dying? What do you think about the trope
I mean,
of
I
of
just
of Lawrence
I
being
just
this
honestly
older
didn't really
character?
have. I didn't really have any kind of emotional response to any of that. I didn't.
Gotcha.
I just think that I didn't have the same oomph of care for this movie that other people had. So when people like the officer dies and there's all this intense drama, now there's a new son and all, like to me it just seems outlandish because I'm not invested, and I don't think I ever was put in a predicament to be invested. Like this movie is, you said 20 years, right?
Yes.
I'm 23. So I just don't think that I had the same relationship with the movie that probably the majority of its fan base does. So I just didn't really care. I was like, this is kind of boring. I'm bored.
I believe the original movie came out.
I felt like the characters that I was supposed to care about were underwritten because they were only there for one movie, and they have this intense objective for this one movie, and then they die, or not, because obviously we know that Will Smith's son does not die, and that'll be a very interesting plot point for the fourth movie. But that's the fourth movie.
Yeah, with it the fourth movie, if the fourth movie comes, I think that the dynamic of him dating the captain is going to be very interesting, and I think that it would have been a better story plot if they would have made Lawrence's character the captain coming out of the end of the third movie, and because
Yeah, and they also just added an insane amount of like spirituality and like an evil kind of way with Kate Del Castillo's character.
I know.
Like, I'm just not that I'm over seeing Mexican Americans being portrayed that way, but like that's like a very common like thing that happens, and is there an aspect of their culture that is indicative of that and that is accurate in that representation? Absolutely. I'm not saying that they're being racist, but I just, like, why did they have to make her like that? You know what I mean? And I know that she's Latina. Like, be Latina, that I love that. I love that she was Latina and that they speak Spanish in the movie. I thought that was a really bold choice to make. But why is this, like, bruja? Why is she a witch? Why is she, you know what I mean, like, evil in that way? I just wish that they kind of, like they made her more understandable. And
I think that's just Western cultures not understanding other cultures and rewriting stereotypes, and also writing to they wrote to the audience. The audience may not get other culture norms, and they tried to just dumb it down to the bare minimum. So, I mean, we might be to be completely honest, that we might be getting a little too technical for the audience that was geared to this movie. Okay, don't forget, like, this audience is very blue collar. So, like, we don't need to get super complicated when it comes to this movie.
I don't know. I think that I think I disagree with you when you say that the first two aren't cult classics. I think that they very much are.
Oh,
they like them.
If you think I said that, that's not what I meant. I'm talking about the third one.
Watching Bad Boys with your boys, you know what I mean? Like going out with your boys to watch Bad Boys, like that sounds like a good night with the boys. Or like just having like a chill like Netflix night with the boys and a couple of beers, watching movies like Bad Boys. I feel like their fan base they at least have that. You know what I mean? And that's a huge fan base.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right.
So I'm at a 2. You're at a 3.5.
Yes, and
I think that's the most that we've disagreed on the movie.
Yeah, I think so. Most of the time, we're pretty close.
We're not really disagreeing that much.
I mean, in all sincerity, it's not anything that I'm never buying this DVD. I mean, and if I do own it in my personal collection, it'll come in like a classic, like four-part DVD, it'd just be something that comes along with it. But I'm not going to seek out this individual movie in any way.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of these people. I don't know about you, but if I'm gonna buy a series, I'm gonna buy it in like a collector's edition. I'm not gonna buy it.
That would be really cool, and they're going to make a crap ton of money on that, and that's amazing because they deserve to make a lot of money on that because they worked hard in making this movie.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like, I'm all for it.
Well, of course you're all for it because
I'm not gonna watch it again.
Yeah, I mean we hope that you get tied in with a series that you make a ton of money over the next 40 years too. So.
Yeah.
All right, so for myself, Paul, and for Elon Carlos, my rating is a 3.5. Yvonne's rating is a 2 deuces, and we appreciate you guys subscribing and checking in on our reviews, and please continue sending in reviews and compliments and comments and negative reviews and positive reviews, and continue giving us ideas for our other movies. And as always, please stay tuned.
And wash your hands and stay healthy.
Yes, absolutely.